YouTube, welcome to the top 16 of the Meta Weekly every single week. And with this very special Meta Weekly, we have Maxx banned. No Maxx. We're not copying the TCG ban list. We're not copying or changing anything else with the ban list. Simply the Master Duel ban list as is with the current cards that are meta, but Maxx is banned. That's it. And with that, we have Labyrinth versus Labyrinth, a deck that's not really affected by Maxx, but still doing well with Maxx being banned. Okay, why not? By watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, doing that as long as you can, even watching me on in the background while you're working out or doing some other things like folding laundry, that greatly supports the channel. Thank you very much. If these videos and streams do well, I will more regularly want to do Maxx ban tournaments. Maybe I'm thinking once every 3 months, right? With that said, Hajime.
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
We have Ariana on summon, going to get negated from searching for a Labyrinth card. We're going to chain the Torby. Ooh, we could big welcome spin back the Ariana to dodge the impermanence. That is a great play. Oh my gosh. Imperm is not negating the Ariana. So quick effect, get the big welcome in the grave, dodge the impermanence. Very well done. To then set up and search a big welcome with the Stovey as the Ariana grabs the Chandelier, being our other furniture card. The Stovey also being triggered by a monster leaving the field through a trap effect as the Chandelier discards the added back to hand Ariana to set up a welcome Labyrinth. We have welcome, big welcome, plus double impermanence. This is big, and we're also going to having to deal with another big welcome here. We're going to use our big welcome first. Big welcome versus big welcome. Now, the problem being with our big welcome is we have no monster to return back to our hand besides the monster we summon. This could be an Ariana to be our normal summoned monster. It could be a lady to then return back to our hands and then summon back on the field. Let's see what we do. This could be a lovely could summon, return back the Stovey, then pop a card in our hand. We also have super polymerization ready to get fusion. Let's see what happens. We could have potentially maybe wanted to have waited with our Labyrinth field spell to set that up first to then activate the big welcome to non-target pop a card in the field, but I don't think we would have enough time to do so. So this is it. This is the big play. Summon for the deck. Ooh, not being Ariana, not being Lady, grabbing a furniture card instead. Here comes the lovely with the random card pop. Return the Stovey. Trigger the lovely. First, we're going to be triggering our own cards here. Randomly popping a card from the hand. Get ready with that random pop. Chandelier goes to the hand. Stovey gets summoned onto the field, so come to us. And then the Welcome Labyrinth will be set onto the field. Ooh, randomly popping that super polymerization. Okay. Now, the great benefit of an early lovely is one of the biggest counters to Labyrinth being Ash Blossom. You cannot Ash Blossom a welcome or big welcome with a lovely on the field. So you get her out first, then activate your other traps that can't get Ash now. That is a good play. We have Chandelier discarding the Stovey to set up a big welcome. We now have our Labyrinth ending our turn. During the end phase, it's time to make some plays. Summon an Ariana. Ariana add a Lady Labyrinth. Lady Labyrinth will be summoning itself onto the field here. Lady is really big in the mirror match because if your opponent activates a trap, she'll change the trap to set a new trap from the deck, which very quickly the duel's going to get out of hand. Now, there is a lot of pressure on main phase 1 here. If we allow Alpha to get to main phase 1, then Lovely will be able to activate, resetting a trap from the graveyard onto the field. So we got to make some plays now. With our Welcome Labyrinth plus the Labyrinth field spell, we can non-target pop a card in the field besides the indestructible Lady. So what do we do? Welcome, chain Lady, set a trap from the deck. We're going to also chain Big Welcome to spin the Labyrinth field spell back to the hand so we don't get the non-target pop effect on the field. That's it. We're just summoning a monster. Damn. Setting a Dogmatica Punishment from the deck here, summoning an Ariana, Imperm, negate. Now we could use the Big Welcome to dodge it. I think that was maybe not a good use of the Big Welcome. Maybe the Big Welcome in our back row would have been better. Big Welcome from the deck, return back the Ariana, maybe trigger a Lovely to pop the opposing Lovely, which the Imperm would then negate that Lovely. Yeah. We're just going to Imperm again. Now, could we then use Big Welcome? We can't, because we needed to, it's only one effect and only once that turn. But we could Daruma Cannon, flip the entire field face down, dodging the Impermanence. Flip, 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 flip. Dodging double impermanence. The effect will be going through. I think we'll be searching for a lady here. Lady is the play. Now, these monsters were summoned on a previous turn, so the Daruma, not a big deal. We'll just flip them right back up. Come forth, lady, as the chandelier in Stovey gets triggered. Come forth and summon. What was the big mistake here? What happened? Okay, were you saying that the big welcome not being activated in the back row was the big mistake here? Maybe, you know, we could say maybe they wanted to save it for another turn, maybe. Lovely, as I said, being able to recycle a card in the graveyard, activating welcome, summoning the Ariana. Ariana on summon, search our deck for a Labyrinth card. Summoning our Stovey to make a Chaos Angel. Chaos Angel on summon will banish a card in the field. Now, the lady is untargetable, but we can target that card that you're saving for the next turn. It's now gone. Double big welcome banished. Muckraker could reborn a monster from the grave to get the transaction rollback into the grave. Now it's, oh my gosh, this recycles the Chaos Angel. This does not activate specifically on Synchro Summon, but on Special Summon. On Special Summon, target again within the same turn after it had already activated, banishing again, goodbye to the lady. To battle we go, wiping out the 2000 defense Torby, and not enough for lethal damage here, but I mean, look at, oh, we do have lethal. Transaction rollback is going to be copying the effect of the hard once per turn activated Welcome Labyrinth, which cannot be activated again, but we're not activating it again. We're copying the effect to be used again to come forth and summon from the deck Lady Labyrinth for lethal damage. Muckraker doubling the Chaos Angel. Muckraker getting the transaction rollback in the grave. Muckraker was huge. Pot of E, banishing 6 cards randomly from the extra deck to go for that draw 2 play. We have Ariane, discard a trap to then summon a monster in the deck, which will be Ariana. Ariane, summon Ariana, searching for the clock. Clock will allow a newly set trap to be activatable the turn it was set, using the chandelier to set up a big welcome to now be usable the turn it was set. That will also trigger the clock to summon itself onto the field or add to the hand. You want to summon it onto the field to use your big welcome to then return it back to the hand, summoning our Lovely. Lovely will recycle a Dogmatica Punishment, Impermanence, or the big welcome. But first, she is being triggered to pop a card randomly from the hand. Now, we are on summon number 1, 2, 3, 4, as we're randomly popping a card from the hand here. What are we popping? Not the Nibiru. Are we going for a 5th summon? Lovely recycle the Impermanence. 4 summons pass. Chandelier discarding our dead Nibiru to set up with a big Welcome Labyrinth. And we have Solemn Strike. This will be negating a monster effect like the Ariana. Just like that. It's mostly used to negate an Ash, but also very good against Ariana. Negate and destroy. You can't chain big welcome to the Solemn Strike, so that is a huge problem here, as we now have to summon a lady, return the lady, and then we could summon it onto the field in defense. Chandelier being triggered to add from the graveyard back to the hand, set double back row, summon itself onto the field, setting first, then summoning, making her untargetable. We're going to big welcome, randomly spin a back row card back to the hand, there being a welcome and a big welcome, and we hit the right card, hitting the big welcome. As we set up our own big welcome from the deck, Chandelier discarding big welcome to then set up a big welcome. Now, we have already used big welcome, but we're going to have the welcome, 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 welcome. Okay, let's slow this down. So we can't use this effect again, but with it being in the graveyard, we have the effect to spin a card in the field back to the hand, but then we can't use the big welcome in the back row. So we're going to have to choose spin anything or summon from the deck, which could be a Lovely to then pop a card in the field. Let's see what happens. Untargetable lady. We have big welcome versus big welcome. Double big welcome. Chaining lady to big welcome to set a trap from the deck. All right. Set from our deck our Dogmatica Punishment. With the coup clock, we can make it activatable the turn it's set. That is going to be it. We're going right for that clock. Add back the clock, discard the clock, activate Dogmatica. We're still surrendering because we know we're not going to be able to play through this field. Damn. Some good turn 1 cards here. Solemn Judgment's a card that a lot of TCG players for game 2 and 3, knowing that they're going first, will side in a bunch of them. This being a no-side deck tournament, we're still taking the risk of main deck and Solemn Judgment. Set 3 pass, keeping the rivalry in the hand to be discarded with a furniture card. Big welcome is going to be chain link blocked by the clock. So by blocking the lady can't set a new trap from the deck. Very well done. Come forth Lovely, return back the Lady. Now, clock makes one of these activatable, right? Wrong. They are not activatable. The clock does not make it activatable the turn it's set unless you then have a Labyrinth monster in the field to make them activatable. So, it's no good. It was just a chain link block and for no other reason. Torby come forth and summon. Lovely randomly get poppin'. Not going for the back row? That's wild. Okay, interesting. I don't know if I agree with that. Pop in the hand and not the field. Maybe because we see the hand and we're like, wow, the hand sucks. To battle we go, Dogmatica Punishment on the attack. We're gonna use Big Welcome to protect her from being destroyed. Now we're gonna use Ice Dragon Prison to reborn from the grave to then banish on both sides of the field here. Summon a fiend, banish a fiend. Now the Dogmatica has no card in the field to match a monster from the action deck, so we don't even get the additional effect of, let's say, drawing with Garura or popping with Entis. Entis would have not been sendable there because she's too big. Solemn Judgment is actually negating Labyrinth. Labyrinth ain't no freaking way. Half of our life points? No. Back in my day, Solemn Judgment was limited to 1. I could not have imagined a meta where this card was playable at 3 and for every deck to not be using it at 3. I think before it was limited to 1, it was played at 3 in a deck like Gladiators. Gladiators, I think, had triple Bestiari with triple Solemn Judgment. Damn, was that a meta back in the day? That was the Shonen Jump tournament meta. Labyrinth set up with the Big Welcome. We can easily pop that back row Labyrinth by reborning our Lovely, but Lovely's banished. When she's banished, we have no other way to get to her unless we play a second copy. We don't play a second copy, we normally just play 1. We're gonna be triggering the Ariana to randomly draw to then special summon our Lady from the hand here. The battle we go. Big Welcome, non-target, pop a card in the field, but the ladies are indestructible. We're gonna use Crossout Designate to negate Big Welcome by banishing one of our 3 copies from the deck. Now in OCG, Big Welcome is semi-limited. We still have 3 in Master Duel. Negate. Lethal damage, thanks to Solemn Judgment halving our life points. Now, does anyone remember when Dark Armed was the meta? I remember, I did not play during that time. That's when I was on a Yu-Gi-Oh! Hiatus. But I think that was back in the day regarded as when Yu-Gi-Oh! Was the most expensive. But I don't know if Yu-Gi-Oh! Is now more expensive than when Yu-Gi-Oh! Was the most expensive. I think when people refer to Dark Arm being meta, that Dark Arm decks were $1,000, which is now a normal thing today, right? Well, with no Maxi to keep the deck in check, that's right, a normal summoned normal Loki is full combo. Dry ass on summon, searching for the sewing. We're on summon number 2. There is a Nibiru. Sewing, summoning the twin. Twin on summon 3. Reborn from the grave for summon number 4. Trigger the dry ass for summon number 5. And we can now get Nibiru'd. Just like that. But when do we Nibiru? Healing gonna heal. We're then gonna Shokan into our Jasmine. Jasmine will do nothing as the Nibiru tributes off the entire field. With no Maxi, Nibiru is here to keep Rikka in check. We just have Imperm and Ash Blossom off of this. We have 2 Disruption to play through. Discard the Poplar, summoning our Diablo Star. Diablo Star activate, chain link block with the Poplar. So if there were to be an Apollo USA, Baron de Flor, or Borreload, they cannot negate the Diablo Star here thanks to the Poplar blocking it. Setting up our Wanted Seeker, not so good, but we already have the original Sinful, so that's fine. Ash, negate. The original Sinful from summoning an Ash from the deck. Very well done. And we do have that special Ash animation. Normal summoning Ghost Mourner going into Baron de Flor. Omni negate plus pop any card on the field. That token is nice and small. We could go for the back row. Imperm negate the pop, but that's fine. And now we have 0 disruption, but we can't normal summon that Jet Synchron. We have already normal summoned, right? Yep, we have already summoned. Goodbye to the token, 3k to the face, and we simply have just 1 disruption, 1 Omni negate. This is it. Hey, there's our Nibiru. Nibiru usage going up in today's tournament here. Sewing is going to be negated. Baron de Flor, negate. Now, Con is not going to be able to search for a card to set in the back row unless we control a Rikka monster, which we do not. thus Rikka losing game 1 to Nibiru. Nibiru's big. Nibiru is big. Nibiru and Duel are the two cards that are skyrocketing in usage with Maxi being banned. Rikka, Glamour, add from the deck our Petal. Petal could search our deck for another Rikka, unless the Valor Imperm negates, which it did not. We're going to use the Snowdrop to special summon a Mudon in itself. Mudon will activate to get negated. Surely this is a good negate. Now, we played into a Triple Tactics talent, but had this card not existed in our hand, Valor makes more sense to activate because Impermanence is better used on your turn and or on the opponent's turn. So get rid of the Valor, hold on to Imperm, but now we're going to get punished. Are they going to draw 2? Or are they going to look at our hand? The Snowdrop could technically turn this field into Disruption. So because of that, we're going to look at the hand, get rid of the Triple Tactics talent, as we then use the Snowdrop to not get negated by Impermanence, as we now have Rikka Queen. Rikka Queen's got the quick effect to tribute an opponent's monster. So we're going to negate that effect. It is an effect, it's not a cost to tribute, as we then discard to summon our Diablo Star. Diablo Star, activate. It's not ashable. We're on summon number 1. Get ready for that Nibiru. Normal summon the Ash for summon number 2. Grab our Poplar. Poplar, trigger, come forth and summon. Activate. Are we going to Ash? Ash, negates. We're on summon number 3. We could Ash, tribute, summon Oak, Oak Reborn, and that's going to be Nibiru. We're on summon number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Poplar equip into the back row. Original Sinful. We are now playing into Nibiru, just like that, tributing the entire field. How big is that token going to be versus a 3,000 attack monster? 5,800 defense. Were there really that many monsters in the field? I think your Rikka Queen really added a ton of attack and defense to it. Now, we thought the combos were over, but the Jet Synchron had a card to discard through the effect of the Wanted Seeker drawing a card. So we're still popping off, making a Promethean Princess after Arhita stole the Ash from the opposing graveyard. Wow. How we thought there was nothing. Jet Synchron with the Wanted Seeker drawing a card. Ain't no way. Now, what do we do here? We get the Flame Burst into the graveyard to make the Ambler Whale, triggering the Flame Burst to Reborn from the graveyard here. Come forth and summon Ash and Poplar, further linking this up into an IP Masquerena. Now we end our turn without a Flame Burst in the field. Petal will recycle itself during the end phase. We're going to pop that Petal so it does not get to search during the next turn. Goodbye, Petal. No follow-up Rikka. Triggering the Ambler Whale to Reborn a Hita from the grave. Now, the Masquerena is not good. It cannot go into an Apollo USA since the Promethean Princess is locking us into fire only. So if we top deck into something good, we're good. Petal. We wanted Petal. Petal into Mudon. That's a play. Mudon tribute, grab the Con. Then we could grab the Glamour. We're popping off. Now the problem is, we only play 1 Snowdrop, I believe. So Snowdrop's not going to be a good play for us. Setting up our Glamour, we have already used up our normal summon, so we can't search for a Loki to then normal summon it. Searching for the Primula, triggering also to grab a Princess. The Primula will be triggered to come forth and summon. The Princess will be special summoned here, as we then rank 4 Exceeds into Strenna. Strenna could add the Snowdrop in the graveyard back to our hand, yes? Or we're grabbing a Glamour instead. Target a plant or Rikka in the graveyard, add it to your hand. Would it have been better to grab the, I guess Snowdrop would not be so good because we don't have another plant to summon, so that's not actually a play. Now, unfortunate for us, our Con just got destroyed by the Ambler Whale. So the effect of the Princess in response to a monster effect was to use the Con to tribute your opponent's monster to negate their effect. We're instead going to have to use our Strenna. Now, Strenna will only trigger if tributed, so if they go straight to battle and attack over Strenna, we're screwed. We are desperately praying that they activate any monster effect whatsoever. Activate a monster effect, and then Rikka, I think, will win this duel. Okay, well, we played right into that Strenna. Tribute the Strenna to negate the Promethean. Strenna will now be triggering to summon another monster, which will be further disruption. Come forth and summon Teardrop. Teardrop is going to be quick effect, tribute a monster in the opponent's graveyard, but we have the Triple Tactics talent to take control of the Teardrop, chaining the Teardrop, and then realizing we lose anyway. That is a 2-0. Yes, Rikka just got 2-0'd by Snakeeyes. Even without Maxx, Snakeeyes is dominating. Electromite's banned in TCG. Electromite's allowed in OCG and Master Duel alongside Maxx, so the Maxx keeps the Electromite in check, right? So Electromite should dominate today's tournament. Now, a summoned Link Splitter with no effect, this is really bad. I don't think you need me to tell you that. And even with this really bad field, I think we'll be grabbing our evenly matched to banish everything but one. Yes, this is it. To battle phase we go at the end of the battle phase, banishing everything but the impermanence. I love that play of Imperm on Ariana, chain Chandelier, discard Big Welcome, return her back to the hand. Are we gonna do it? I hope so. Yes, I love it. Royal Big Welcome Labyrinth, dodge the impermanence. It's out of freaking nowhere. You can't really see this coming. Get spinning, dodge the impermanence, get searching, setting up a Big Welcome with the Chandelier as the Ariana grabs a Stovey alongside the Chandelier we have in the grave. Then the Chandelier gets triggered to add back to the hand, discard the lovely Brick, get her into the graveyard. She's resummonable with the Muckraker or summonable with the Big Welcome Labyrinth, but not a regular Welcome Labyrinth. You have a lot of Royals. Royal Welcome, you have the Royal Big Welcome that is now banished. End of the turn, let's get activated. During the end phase, come forth and summon Our Lady, chain the Lady to the Big Welcome, set up a trap, summon an Ariana, grab the clock, discard with the clock, activate the newly set trap if we want to, and just like that, or we could just summon Lovely, pop a card from the hand to keep it even more simple. Let's hop into game number 2. Summoning our Connector, special summoning our Dolphin, looking at the hand so we know exactly what we could do to play around this hand. So we know the turn 2 plays, you know all the ways. Let's get to it. Let's speed this up. What does a... This would end on 6 disruptions, okay? So it would be 6 disruptions. There you go. 6 disruptions. How? Watch the video. You'll know how. And you can also see through the official in-game data, win rate when summoned, Charles at 86.5%. Which for that duel, it was going to be 100%, so they knew to just surrender early, and they're out. Ariana is going to get Effect Veilered. Now, we kept on seeing a Chandelier or Stovey discarding Big Welcome to then spin back the Ariana. Unfortunately, we do not have that play for this turn. Setting up the Labyrinth, which will now turn the Big Welcome into a non-target pop. And we don't have a way to stop that. We have double Imperm, which is not good against Labyrinth. Big Welcome, come forth and summon from the deck. This is a double pop if we summon a Lovely. Lovely it is. Return the Ariana. Trigger Lovely, pop with the field spell. As the Connector resolves, summoning the Dolphin. Trigger Lovely, pop a card on the field or in the hand, taking out the field. We have no more summons. The Sublimination Knight is also a 1-card I sold. But at this point, the Lovely recycling the traps in the graveyard, it's going to be a big problem. Are we even using Big Welcome to dodge the impermanence? No. We're just going to let them negate the Ariana, use the Lovely to recycle, not using Imperm to negate the Lovely because I guess we're feeling that we're losing too much resources, but I feel like we had to. We're pretty much scooping. Yeah, what are we going to do? We have non-target pop, plus trigger the Lovely. When are we activating stuff? We're just waiting. Original Sinful, summoning the Ricardetto on summon, locking us into warrior monsters only. We're going to use the Ice Dragon Prison to take the monster you're trying to reborn. We're going to use Imperm. So what's interesting here is Imperm negates the Ice Dragon Prison through negating the Lovely. But if we read the impermanence, it says, negate its effects, then. Then is the magical word. If you do not perform everything before then, you don't do anything after then, okay? So it is different than if you do. If you do happens at the same time, then is sequential. So if you do and then is still dependent on the effect before. So how do we make it so our effects are not negated? How about we make it leave the field? Big Welcome, summon from the deck, return the Lovely, dodge the negate, then there is no then, negate the column. Thus, the Ice Dragon Prison will reborn and banish the Ricardetto and the monster you were attempting to summon. Plus the Labyrinth popped a card on summon, non-target, and just like that, we completely outplayed the Impermanence. the Ariana, through a monster leaving the field through a trap, you draw a card, then re-summon that lovely back on the field. What just happened? Damn. Labyrinth clapping it up, and BFA Hackbay did say that their deck was built to beat Snakeeye. They had a really good hand. They had double Impermanence plus a Veiler. Unfortunately, Imperm is just not that great against Labyrinth, thus, that's why we lost. 1 for 1, must discard a monster to activate its effect, summoning our Ash. That is great use with our Impermanence or Veiler here. Imperm, negate. Why should you use Imperm over Veiler? To play around Triple Tactics talent. If you don't want them to follow up with that, this is when you would Imperm. If you don't care about the Triple Tactics talent, it is better to hold on to Imperm because you could use it on your turn. I think TCG players are playing enemy controller in their decks. I could check a little bit after this. Poplar on summon, trigger the field spell. It could also dodge the Impermanence if we enemy controller take control of the Ambler Whale, which is what we're doing. We want access to our own field spell. You have field spell to beat the field spell. We want our own field spell also. Yoink it. Trigger, summon the Flame Burge, search the Poplar for our own Divine Temple. It's all about Divine Temple in the mirror, which is why a lot of people are saving their disruptions for Poplar instead. Divine Temple setting up the Flame Burge, Original Sinful send the Poplar, summon the Ash, Ash activate, searching our deck, using the Flame Burge to steal the opposing Flame Burge. Now we still have the Promethean Princess, so we still have some disruption there for the targeting poppage. On the special summon is when we'll do so. We are using the Divine Temple off of your special summon to steal your Oak. Do we have Oak activatable? Yes, we do. Oak could reborn our Poplar, come forth and summon. Look how crazy the Flame Burge and the Divine Temples are. They're stealing from each other's back rows. Flame Burge is here, triggering the Promethean Princess to pop the Flame Burge plus our own Flame Burge, which will trigger not our Flame Burge because we don't have enough level 1s in the grave to summon. So our Flame Burge getting popped, this was a great opportunity to do so. Very nice. Our Flame Burge works. Theirs does not. Trigger the Ash for follow-up. Trigger the Oak for more blockage. This is Snakeeye versus Snakeeye. Let's get to it. Summoning everything into attack thanks to our field spell, boosting up the fields. Grabbing an Original Sinful to be used next turn, plus our Kurikara. Linkuriboh to get the Poplar into the grave. We're going to send the Linkuriboh to come forth and summon the Oak. Oak not activating since we already activated their Oak. Hida get ready to steal a monster from the opponent's graveyard, stealing the Flame Burge. So it can get really confusing with whose Flame Burge is whose. You click on this and it's red, it's the opponent's. You click on this and it's blue. So Dorley has King's Flame Burge and King has Dorley's Flame Burge. Their Flame Burges are swapped. Flame Burge push the Promethean into the back row. Link this up into Promethean Princess. Our Flame Burge. Reborn a Fire from the graveyard here. This is in fact our Flame Burge. And then further link this up into Ambler Whale, which we have not triggered our Flame Burge yet. So now we get to finally trigger it. Get Reborning, Oak and Ash. Link this up into Zealantis. Now, what's crazy about Zealantis is if they stole any of your cards, they get summoned onto your field. So that Flame Burge is coming back to us. Is anything else ours? Just that Flame Burge. So banish their Flame Burge, which is our Flame Burge, to summon our Flame Burge back on the field. This will just reset the control of cards. So technically you could like Lava Golem and then swap it up. So come forth and we are going to be flipping their cards face down so they do not get triggered on summon if they have not already triggered yet. Promethean Princess being triggered to pop a card. We're going to use the Linkuriboh to dodge the pop to come forth and summon now. The Promethean Princess, if it pops at least one card, it will still be summoned. It needs to pop at least one then it gets summoned. Come forth and summon Promethean Princess. And at the start of the battle phase, or whenever we want, we can non-target pop cards on the field equal to the co-links we control, or co-links on the field. We got 2 co-links, pop 2, non-target, wipe it up, and that will trigger the Ambler Whale to pop another card, as we are going to also trigger ours to pop a card. Double pop, non-target, goodbye Flameburge, goodbye Poplar, open field 7,200 damage, not enough for lethal. Okay. This duel is something. This is a duel. I feel like we're playing a different game here. Phoenix with nothing to discard. Now, Phoenix makes the Zealantis indestructible by battle. We have the Divine Temple, which will steal the opposing player's back row if we want to. We have Ash being triggered on summon, Flameburge when sent to the grave, reborn 2 monsters from the grave. Are TCG Snakeeyes mirror matches going to time every game? I have to check one of the YCSs. They have to be going into time, right? Oak and Poplar get activated, get searching, most of them do. So what are they side decking for burn damage? What's the secret burn damage trick? Taking the opposing Promethean to play onto our own field. We have our own Promethean using Subversion to push the Zealantis into the back row so that it cannot activate during the battle phase to get poppin'. Making our own Phoenix. Phoenix co-linked with Phoenix to draw a card after popping a back row, getting rid of that Divine Temple. Very well done. They're using Volcanic Shell in Samochi. Nice. We have Jet Synchron discarding Fenrir, Reborn, Comfort Shokan into Nightmare, Unicorn on summon, discard a card, spin a card in the field, back in the deck, triggering the Promethean to pop the card you're attempting to spin to also pop your Unicorn. Off the field you go. Come forth. That was our only disruption. That's it. With no disruption left, we're going to be reborning a Flameburge from the back row with the effect of the Divine Temple off of the opponent's summon, pushing the opposing player's Promethean into our own back row because it was ours, searching for a Birth as we now have Unicorn in the field, Birth, reborn a Fenrir from the grave, Fenrir searching our deck for Unicorn, Kashtira, I'm thinking make Snakeeyes better. Banishing Promethean face down, it just like that. Not lethal? We're off by 100? Are you freaking kidding me? I do want to state real quick that just Birth is incredible for the mirror match. Being able to banish 3 cards from the opponent's graveyard face down after they activate a spell, that's huge. Imperm, which is dead due to Zealantis being pushed into the back row. We're going to search our deck for any level 1 fire, being our Ash. Now, if Ash were to be limited to 1, I don't think this would have been a play, right? The Ash in the graveyard would not be searchable because you search, then return. So I do think that this is very likely what Konami will do for TCG, Master Duel, and OCG, limit Ash to 1. It's coming. When I say Birth, get Birth and banishing 3 cards in the opponent's graveyard face down after the effect of a spell. Ash grab Poplar, Poplar get triggered. We did not trigger our Poplar. Or, okay, we did. So in the TCG, this would be Chainlink 1, but in Master Duel, it is a quick effect priority, not a trigger priority, but it is a trigger effect. Okay, makes sense? The triggers happen first, the public triggers, then the hidden trigger is at the priority of a quick effect. Come forth and summon, goodbye to the Ash. Poplar, search our deck for the original Sinful. I think we're killing ourselves. Yes, we are. Okay. Begin. Discarding our triple tactics talent for our Diabolus Star. No Masquerena, but we still have some disruption. Do the Promethean popping on your summon. Special summon that is. Got Divine Temple versus Divine Temple. Discard to summon Diablo Star. This is a trap. Literally, it's a trap. The trap is the trap in the grave. Do not activate anything in response to Diablo Star because this will negate it. It's a secret effect. We're not doing it, of course. Grabbing a Subversion. You can't use Promethean if we push your only fire on the field into the back row, and if we don't summon again, then you can't use Divine Temple to get a fire on the field. Makes sense. Okay. Enemy controller. Not sure how good this is for the mirror match. I did say I want to check the TCG deck players to see how many of them are playing it. We have Call by the Grave to finger the Ash Blossom, negate, as we're activating our original Sinful Spoils to search our deck, then send the Ash into the deck. What are we grabbing? From the deck, our Ash, then we return the Ash. As I stated earlier, if Ash was limited to 1, you couldn't search Ash by returning Ash. So that's why I think it's probably going to happen. Now, Divine Temple will trigger the other Divine Temple. By summoning your Flame Burge, I could then summon my own Flame Burge on the Resolution, first adding the Poplar. So we passed on Divine Temple. Interesting. We do have to worry about Nibiru. Okay, if you're not going to summon... Oh, well, here's the thing. If we activate Divine Temple, they could then activate Flame Burge to stop the Divine Temple. So the Flame Burge locks down Divine Temple from activating, so we have to wait for them to activate it, which they already did, so now we can activate our Divine Temple. Thank you. Summon number 3, summon number 4. And that being our Flame Burge, if we have enough level 1 fires to summon, we're playing into Nibiru. Yep, it looks like that is the case here. We are definitely getting Nibiru'd. Do we do so on Resolution, or do we wait? If we wait, can they summon a negate? Well, with Promethean Princess, we can't turn into a negate here. So if we waited, it would not turn into a negate. But we're just going to attribute the field right here, right now. Goodbye to everything, and this is going to be a fat token. This token is going to be 13,000 attack. Enemy controller. What did I say? Oh my gosh. You can't chain to the activation of Diablo Star or a Sinful Spoils. So had we just waited on the enemy control, technically, why didn't we wait? The reason why is this could be a little bit confusing. Diablo Star is a cost to send, but also it's an effect to send. To summon from the hand, it's a cost. To summon from the graveyard, it's an effect. So we wanted to force them to send their field spell to the grave to summon Diablo Star, which was the play. This was good. It was a great play. Take the Nibiru to summon Diablo Star. You now out your own field spell. But because we're doing so in response to her activation, which was the correct timing to make them tribute their field spell, it also allowed us to use the secret effect of the trap, which states, if they activate anything in response to the Diablo Star, which is supposed to be protecting it from a finger called by or a negate, but that wasn't the case here, it's now negating for free. Free negates. Damn. Great imperm, but even better negates. And now we get to send the Nibiru, and we don't have to send our field spell. Come forward, Diablo Star. Imperm negate. This is where the Sinful Trap would be negating the impermanence. This is the more normal usage of the trap. That econ take was just crazy. Nibiruing on our own turn. Our own turn. I'm thinking, holy, is there a strategy where you give your opponent a 13,000 attack token in attack position because they summon so many times on your turn, then you enemy controller it for game? Is that the use of enemy controller? Is that what we're doing? Giant Nibiru token, take control and attack for game? I would love to see it. Come forth. Ash off the top of the deck somehow. What the heck was that? That was the usage for Econ in Salamangre. Wow. Grabbing a Poplar, and even though it's Snakeeyes or Snakeeyes, there being no Maxx, I think has made this duel a lot more interesting, right? Having room for more Nibiru, having room for enemy controllers, which we don't see in a Maxx meta. There's no enemy controller in any of the Snakeeyes deck lists. Summon an Oak, Oak on summon, Reborn the Poplar. We're going to then further link this up into Hida. Hida steal a monster from the graveyard, but Promethean Princess will say, no, you're not gonna steal. We're gonna summon. If there's an Amble Whale in either player's graveyard, that will be triggered. Amble Whale will get poppin'. We're gonna randomly pop, not random, but choose what to pop, non-targeting. As the Hida also activates to search our deck for a Kurikara. Ash is going to send the field spell to summon from the deck our Flame Burge. Flame Burge is ready to push a card on the field or in the graveyard into the back row. Suiciding our Flame Burge to trigger the effect to reborn 2 level 1 fire monsters. Double Oak, Oak and Ash into defense. What are our disruptions? What do we have? what can we even do? We have no Promethean Princess in the graveyard. Is there a play where we just take control of Ash or Oak if we were to get a monster on the field to then use its effect against them? Original Sinful, send the Promethean Princess, summon from the deck our Oak, Oak on summon, reborn the Ash, Ash activate. How many enemy controllers are you playing? Triple? I would love to see it. Trigger the Poplar, summon the Poplar, further linking this up into an IP Masquerena. Now that's going to trigger the Poplar to put the Flameburge into the back row as the Oak sends the Flameburge to summon from the deck our another Flameburge. That will trigger Flameburge to summon 2 level 1 fires, come forth and summon, linking this up into a Dark. Dark, steal a Dark monster. Thank you for Diablo Star. Triggering Diablo Star to set up a Wanted Seeker. Flameburge, push the Ash, and let's get to it. We have over 9,000 damage, lethal damage. We could have also used Enemy Controller to put the opposing monster into attack position for even more damage. If we didn't have lethal, we would then have lethal through that way. Oh, this is an exhausting match, but it also is exhausting with Maxx, to be fair. Why does this duel go to time? Let's find out. The time limit being 60 minutes for a match with no time wasted side decking. You just go game 1, game 2, game 3, boom, boom, boom. And they're still taking up more than 60 minutes without Maxx. So Maxx, what's more competitive? A match that resolves in less than 60 minutes with both players having Maxx, or having to go to time limit because there is no Maxx and the time decides the duel instead of Maxx influencing the duel. That's also a potential situation. I think it's incredibly non-competitive for matches to be decided by time, especially when people are side decking in burn cards. What is someone saying? Samochi burn and some BS like that. They're putting in some volcanic shells to burn for some random damage. Not cool. Blame the game, not the player. I respect the players that are using those burn strategies. I would use it too, 100%. I'm not saying they should not do it. It just sucks that that's a reality. Now, not using the Jet Synchron, but a normal summoned Ash instead to make our Formula Synchron. What the hell is going on here? On summon, draw a card. Seeker, draw an additional card here. When do we Nibiru? Well, that will trigger the field spell to summon a Flameburge. Uh-oh. If we trigger the Flameburge in the graveyard, then we're playing into Nibiru. Well, now we can Nibiru. It's now time to get Nibiru'd. We played right into it. Get Nibiru'd. Damn. So what you could see on the site here, if we click on Snakeeyes and you look at the first Ash combo, you control CP. The Nibiru CP, which is the choke point, that is where we got choked. We got choked, just like that. Imperm, negate the Ash. Link Karibo is now here. We're gonna further link this up into Dark. Dark's gonna be summoning a Dark monster from the opponent's graveyard. Are we going to Imperm negate? Yes, we are, mate. Negate. So what do we do now? We have the Diablo Star, an original Sinful of our own to keep on cooking. Send Dark to summon Oak. Oak on summon, reborn from the grave or banish. Does not get impermanence because of the Link Karibo. Link Karibo is huge for dodging Veilers or impermanences, and you really do want to check their graveyard before using your impermanence, so make sure you're not negating a level 1 monster. In some circumstances, it could still be worth it to use Imperm, even if they have Link Karibo, if you are for sure denying them from getting a Flameburge on the field, even if their monster were to resolve. We're going to push the token into the back row. We're going to Imperm negate that effect. We're going to keep that 5,200 defense token on the field as we link this up into Hida. Hida is here, triggering Flameburst to summon 2 level 1 fires, steal the Ash from the opposing player's graveyard, linking this up into Promethean Princess, reborn a fire from the grave, further linking this up into the Amblo Whale. Then we're going to go into the Zealantis. Zealantis will then be able to banish the token. Token can't be resummoned, so come forth, summon, 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 but that is not enough for lethal damage. Further linking this up into a Nightmare Phoenix. We are co-linked, so after we attack, we could pop the field spell, which we definitely want to be doing here. Get popping. Let's go. Off the top of the deck. It was time. It was time. Sea King won the duel due to time. Okay. Dorley did not win. Sea King advances in the tournament. It was a 60-minute round time limit. We reached time. Gia went into the duel room, confirmed that Sea King was the winner. Thus, they surrendered. Thank you very much. Let's hop into the next match. Ash grabbing the Poplar. Magna Hut. And we do have end phase searching for our Albaz, which will be negated by the Baron de Fleur or negated by the Impermanence. Let's see what we do. Super Polymerization to fuse with our set Albaz. You cannot negate with the Baron de Fleur. Nothing can be changed to the Super Poly. This is it. Come to us, Mirror Jade. Now, Mirror Jade could get Impermanenced here as we activate the Mirror Jade to non-target banish the Flame Burge. We're gonna first use Elf to, feel things out here. We're not negating the Mirror Jade. Interesting. Is there a reason to not negate the Mirror Jade? I guess we just don't care about being banished? Okay. Losing our Flame Burge, getting banished, holding on to Impermanence. The whole field's gonna get wiped out during the end phase if it were to not get negated by the Finger. Finger, negate the Mirror Jade. Okay. Triple Tactics talent is ready. We could also thrust a Branded Fusion into our hand. Thank you very much. Come to us. Branded Fusion it up. Do we have any more disruption? We just have the Impermanence. So do get ready to Imperm potentially the Albion here. Yes, we are doing that before it goes into the Lubellian Fusion, which then goes into another Mirror Jade. We still have Lubellian to tribute the Albion to search for a disruption during the end phase. We also have the Triple Tactics talent. Draw 2 cards. We're not taking control of anything. Come to us. We have already used up our normal summon. Albion sending a Retribution to randomly draw into a Veiler. Nadir Servant locking us out of the extra deck for the rest of the turn, sending a Garura to then draw a card. Come to us. Ooh, Branded Opening. That's pretty good for getting a Quem on the field. Banish the Garura to summon the Dogmatica Maximus. To battle we go. Wiping out the Elf and the Formula Synchron to then main phase 2 it up, summon our Lubellian from the grave, set up into the back row a Branded Lost or Branded Beast. That's going to be our Lost. Maximus sent from both players' extra decks. We have Rinbrum, we have Gangrenol, we have the Titanclad summoning a Quem during the end phase, sending a Cartesia from the deck to the grave to then add in the graveyard back to our hand. Okay, Albion setting up a Branded Banishment, which will trigger the Lost to grab a Mercurier for a monster negate. We have Rinbrum, which is going to fuse with the opponent's Promethean Princess by summoning an Albaz. Let's get to it. This was sent from the extra deck to the grave through Maximus. Discard, fuse. We now have Mirror Jade plus our Mercurier monster negate. If you were to be doing any other play afterward, let's say Original Sinful, search for Ash, summon Ash. We got the plays to stop it. We got the Mercurier negate. We have the Mirror Jade non-target banish. We haven't even used the banishment yet to then fuse with either side of the field. Woo! This is it. Let's keep on going. Seeker in the draw phase to play around the draw. We have no hand traps anyway. Let's speed this up. Elf Reborn, the Formula Synchron, Shokan into Baron de Fleur, Monster Reborn even being used here. And let's get to it. We have tons of disruption. The Baron de Fleur is untargetable. We're going to summon the Flame Burst through the effect of the Temple. We could then link off of the Mask Arena. We could trigger the Promethean Princess to pop cards on the field. We're going to Branded Opening in the draw phase, which plays right into the Ghost Mourner. Discarding Keeper, Alibur, Ghost Mourner, negate. First, we want to trigger the field spell. We're not using Ghost Mourner. Why should we use Ghost Mourner? Because if we don't have Branded Fusion, we search for a Lost. And if we have Lost, then you can't use Ghost Mourner in response to the Branded Fusion anyway. So it's if they're either searching Branded Fusion or Lost, just negate it. There you go. Now Ghost Mourner cannot be used if we Fusion Summon. Ash, grab a Kurikara to be used during the next turn. And let's get ready. Mask Arena, maybe Unicorn spin the Lost away, potentially. No, we're going into the Apollo USA. Triple Monster Negate, which Apollo can't be used against Lost. Mourner can't be used against Lost. Baron to Floor can't even negate the Branded Fusion against Lost. We had the out to negate the Alibur, and now the Lost is making us lost the whole duel. Hoppler gets search in. You can't negate the activation. You can negate the effect, okay? Can you negate the effect with Baron to Floor? No, this negates the activation. Can you negate the effect of the Polyosay? No, this negates the activation. Cannot, will not time to fuse with your fields. You could try, but you will fail. Lost just won the whole duel. Unfreaking believable. This is crazy. On its summon, we are in a window of being protected by Lost. So within this window, with the toggle on, we can use the effect of Mirror Jade in response to its own summon, and they cannot use the Ghost Mourner. They can't do it. It's protected from being used. And if we're triggering the Lost, we don't even have to toggle on. We could toggle auto here if we're chaining to our Lost. We can't use Mourner. We can't use the Apollo USA even. Can't do it. Can't respond to the Fusion summon. Lost is insane. Look how good this damn card is. We didn't even bother using the Mercurier to negate the Apollo because we knew that it would not be able to even be used. Like, we even have this as further protection. Now, the Cartesia is going to be having its timing. The Lost will miss the timing if the Cartesia were to go through here. We didn't even waste our Mercurier to negate. We don't care. Promethean Princess, come forth. And we now have Poplar being triggered, equipped into the back row. Branded Fusion on top of all of that. Absolutely insane. We already have a Mirror Jade. We can't summon a second copy. And you can't use Mirror Jade to summon Mirror Jade, because technically it's like the thing with the rules and the lawyers at Konami say that you can't do that. Because you can only control one Mirror Jade, even though you'll still only control one. It just doesn't work. We're gonna then send a Brandon White from the deck to the grave, use Retribution to add the Brandon White and the graveyard back to the hand. We could use the graveyard as long as we use an Albaz for our Fusion summon. Get ready. Pesh got this. Yeah, I mean, Lost got this. Branded in white, banishing the Albaz and Serenir for a Borreload Furious. This is where you could toggle on, use Furious on in response to its own summon to pop a card in the field and they can't chain. Link Karibo to reduce the Furious to 0 attack. Chaining, I should say triggering the Gangrenal. We are going to, no, the Link Karibo is actually not doing that. It was just being summoned. If you want to reduce a monster to 0 attack, you have to, while it says S under your battle phase, that's the start of the battle phase, that's when you have to summon Link Karibo. You can't, on their attack declaration, summon Link Karibo, then use Link Karibo to reduce. We have the Diablo Star setting up an Original Sinful into the back row here. Now we are reducing, reduce to 0. Borreload get poppin', pop the Mirror Jade, take out the Divine Temple, summon Lubellion from the graveyard by sending the Albion, which will trigger during the end phase. Do we even have another Branded Spell Trap to set up in the back row? Probably not. We are randomly drawing with the Garura, Fusion Deployment, summon an Albaz, which we already activated this turn. Albion setting up a Banishment, which could be used with the in-grave Mirror Jade to summon it. Quem come forth and summon, sending a Branded Sword, which could recycle a banished Mercurier, which we don't, we have one in our hand, so it's fine. Mask Arena is summonable from the grave only if the opponent controls a monster while we have our Sprite Elf. We are going to be making an Underworld Goddess. Goddess can negate the activation or the effect of the Branded Banishment. Let's read that. This states that you can negate the activation, and the law says you cannot negate the activation. Okay. We're going to be negating the entire field of monsters here with the Goddess on summon. So we're going to use the Borreload Furious before we get negated. We are now negated. We're going to use the Original Sinful to add the Poplar. As we then return back on the deck, Poplar being triggered, come forth and summon. To battle we go. Branded Banishment to Reborn. Underworld Goddess to negate the activation. So activation, negate. But then Branded Law says you can't do that because it is an effective fusion summon. So we tried, we failed. Branded lost again on our first turn going second and on the follow-up turn. It's still winning this entire duel. nullifying Baron to floor, nullifying Ghost Mourner, can't use the Apollo USA, can't use Goddess to negate. If you're trying to negate the activation, the Lost will stop it. Mirror Jade before being pushed into the back row is going to non-target monster banish. This is a difficult situation. If you allow them to push your Mirror Jade into the back row, you then can't summon another Mirror Jade. That's it. It still has the active continuous effect of you can only control one Mirror Jade while it's in the back row. Despite that, we're still going to banish the Kurikara and not ourselves. Grab a fusion deployment, and let's get to it. Yeah, we should have probably Subversion first, then Kurikara. We have Branded Sword to recycle an Albaz monster that is banished back to our hand. Come back to me, Fallen Albaz. Now, the Goddess is unaffected from the fusion effect of Albaz. We can't fuse with the Goddess. The Goddess has to be directly targeted. It's got to be targeted otherwise it's unaffected. We did negate the activation of the Keeper from trying to summon a monster from the grave, which did not include the effect to fusion summon, so the Lost did not protect it. Albion on summon, get activating, get triggering with the Branded Lost. Let's get to it. Search our deck for an Albaz monster, and then fusion summon. We can't summon another Mirror Jade. Can't do it. We're going to go into Lubellion. Lubellion on summon, activate. If you're wondering what's going on with Promethean Princess, it can't activate because of Lost. That's it. You can't activate Promethean. So even though this is untargetable, Promethean could still summon to pop another card in the field, but the Lost turns off the Princess. Princess cannot be summoned. Link Karibo, tributes. The Lost counters everything. It just counters everything. Get equipping, everything to attack, 11,000 damage on the field, Mercurier, negate. As long as our fusion summon is on Chainlink 1, you can't Promethean Princess. So we had an opportunity to make a misplay by activating the Lubellion effective fusion summon on Chainlink 2 or higher, then Promethean Princess would have been activatable. It just like that, Branded Lost with the 2-0 victory. Damn. Damn. No Maxx C, which means Super Heavy Samurai is maybe the best deck. We have Small World bridging the Nibiru Invader into our Circular. Circular send the Sigma. Not using Gamma on the Circular here. What are we saving Gamma for? We're now going to negate and destroy the Circular. Okay, that's fine. It still sends the Sigma from the deck to the graveyard by a cost. That's fine. It works. Very well done. And if you were to Gamma, negate, and destroy the Circular before it uses its hard once per turn effect of search in the deck, you could use Mathmech equation, reborn the Circular, then summon Sigma, then trigger the effect. So I think waiting on the Gamma was correct. Triple Tactics talent, look at that hand, get rid of that Ghost spell, which would have negated the equation. Also negates the Super Factorial. We're going to be exceeding this up into Alimbert. We have not used up our normal summon here as we detach to search our deck for Diameter. Diameter on summon, reborn from the grave. Let's get to it as we link this up into Splash Mage, which must summon a monster in defense, thus it can't summon a Link. We're going to then link this up into Link Decoder. Link Decoder, if used to summon a Cyburst that's 2,300 or more attack, it will then trigger to reborn from the graveyard. Come forth and reborn. Don't summon it to where the transcode's pointing to because it can only summon a monster to where it's pointing to. Further linking this up into our Terahertz. With the effect on both turns to send a card from our deck or extra deck to the grave, we're going to first have in the graveyard the Deceive Worm. This will be able to negate any spell or trap. Now, Super Heavy Samurai has no spell or traps. Does that mean they have no spell or traps? Yes and no. The monsters turn into spells in the back row, thus the Deceive Worm can negate. We got the Motorbike. Discard, search our deck for the Scales. Scales will be reborning a monster from the grave by special summoning itself. Motorbike is going to be changing the levels to then make a Sarutobi. Sarutobi is going to be met with the Terahertz sending from the extra deck to the grave. I would think a card that would negate it, but we're using Imperm to negate it. So with the early Terahertz, what are we doing here? I think this was maybe a mistake. Sending a Defensor? Huh? I think we screwed up. We wanted the Aggregator. We should have waited with the Aggregator. That's what I'm thinking. Scarecrow is going to be reborning our Super Heavy Samurai Soul Piercer. We're going to equip onto our card. We're going to use the Deceive Worm to negate the effect of a spell. There you go. To save Worm, negating a spell in a deck where there's no spells. We're going to be equipping the booster. Booster get boosting onto the field. And then we're making an Anaconda. What? This is where we would Terahertz and Aggregator negate the Anaconda. Or we could Aggregator negate the Wakashi. We're going to be grabbing a Soul Horns with a Benki. We're then going to be making Brave Masuwaru. Brave Masuwaru at 4,000 defense can attack twice with the Soul Horns equipped onto it as we fusion summon into a Mirror Jade. Now, Mirror Jade is going to non-target monster banish the Terahertz off of the field here with an open field 8,000 damage. No way! Non-stop DC with the crazy super heavy samurai plays. Was there something I missed on why Terahertz was activated earlier before we move on? It was just a mistake, right? We should not have Terahertz early. I think we had the perception that we were protecting our impermanence, but then we were like, oh crap, it's a quick effect, so we can't stop it from popping our impermanence. He said misplayed. Okay. Side net mining. We're going to be playing against Ghost Bell. Do we Ghost Bell the Sigma? Or do we wait for further down the combo line of when we negate? Did not Ghost Spell. We're holding on to it. We're using it for, I don't know, maybe a Splash Mage, Transcode Talker. What the heck is this? Huh? Target a link 3 or lower, tribute it if you do special summon VLAN tokens equal to the link rating? What? I've never seen this. Token. What? Okay, Masker. It's a new combo made by you. Oh, okay. You saw it here first. Terahertz is gonna be sending a Deceive Worm. Now, how impactful is the Super Factorial? It's insane. It's gonna send a card from the hand and field to the grave, and it could also send a back row. So it could send 2 cards in the field plus a card in the hand and the grave. It could also set up an Omni Negate. So Omni Negate plus send multiple cards to the graveyard, and Ghost Bell stops all of that. That's why you hold the bell. We have super heavy Samurai searching for the scales here. Droll in Lockbird is the other way to hard counter super heavy Samurai. If you don't have Maxx C, Motorbike change the level, Shokan into Excel Synchro Stardust. Reborn from the graveyard, we're going to use Super Factorial, Ghost Bell, Negate. Japanese players are also doing that play. Okay, that's interesting. I could search up the card on the site to see if anyone else is doing it. Negate. No Omni Negate, no send from the field in handmate, just like that. Now, we have not used up our normal summon yet. We could still get Fairy Tale Snow in the graveyard somehow, which is not going to be so good. We are using having an unaffected Baron to floor by everything. Okay, unaffected. Get poppin'. Terahertz is going to be sending from the deck or extra deck to the grave as Cyburst, which is going to, okay, sure. Not going to be doing it. Oh, protect from destruction. Huh? If a card would be destroyed, if a firewall monster would be destroyed, banish this card instead. Destruction protection, we are good. And we couldn't negate with Baron to floor. Hold up, I don't think this works. Oh, negate the activation. It does not negate the effect. By negating the activation, it actually goes to the graveyard and does not stay on the field. Baron to floor, negate that. That's a negate. Negate. The activation negate. All right. Wakashi get popping off. The Terahertz already activated. Masquerina is still a play. Are we Masquerinaing into? We can't Masquerina into Apollo USA. It's not legal. This is a 3-link. We don't Masquerina at all. Okay. And our turn. Now, the Terahertz has a secret effect. The secret effect is negate any monster effects activated by your opponent during the battle phase. A lot of people forget about that effect. We're going to be using the Albion to summon. So what happens here? What happens here, if we send Aggregator and Albaz is summoned, we are the turn player. Aggregator, if it's optional, versus an optional as the turn player would be Chain Link 1, thus the Albaz would be Chain Link 2. So Aggregator doesn't stop Albaz on your own turn. So that's going to be a problem. Summon, Aggregator, Chain Link 1. Yeah, it's exactly what I said's happening. No bueno. This is turn player versus non-turn player. This would have worked if it was the other player's turn. Yeah, Fusion Summoning into Mirror Jade. Damn. Circular Send from the deck. Pull up, you're not limited. That's right. Sigma Reborn. Mirror Jade non-target monster banish the circular before it triggers off of the Sigma summon to search the deck for an equation. Uh-oh. You still have Dotscaper. Dotscaper, if sent to the graveyard, will reborn. We have triple tactics talent also. Take control of the Anaconda. What do we do, Anaconda? We're gonna flip a card face down with the Fairy Tale Snow. On summon, get flip and target the Sigma. We got Dotscaper when sent to the grave will reborn off of making our Lingariba, which could negate a trap if the opponent had an impermanence in the back row or in the hand. This could stop it. Further linking this up into G Golem, which could reborn a Transcode Talker. Transcode Talker with the link arrow on the right being open could reborn our Masquerena. Damn. This very easily could have not been a play if we made one misstep with any of our monsters that we summoned. We now have access code Talker. Now it's important to note, there's a hidden restriction here. The hidden restriction is on the Circular. Circular is locking us into you can only attack with one monster for the rest of the turn. So don't get excited. Now, the access code Talker is also untargetable. Non-target pop. Let's get popping. 4,800. We can only attack with access code Talker. Mirror Jade's going to wipe up the field during the end phase. Get banishing, get popping. Further linking this up into Firewall Singularity. Firewall Singularity pushing the Snow back to the hand. Can only attack with Singularity here. So you would think that they had lethal. I guess the trick would be you attack and then you just wait until your opponent surrenders. And then they didn't surrender, so then we get wiped out by Mirror Jade during the end phase. That is unfortunate. That's not cheating, right? Maybe in the TCG that would be considered cheating if you were to declare that was your intent in a deck profile, but just don't say anything. Grab a Piercer, Scare Crow, discard, reborn the Scale, and we are scooping it up. Damn. Circular restriction, cutting us off from lethal damage. And that Mirror Jade full field wipe, that was huge. So FUGB wants you to know that that combo we saw earlier with the snake-looking thing, that was to use Masquerena and Laplacian and Dotscaper to make a 3-mat Apollo, but I drew Dot and he negated the Factorial. Yeah, FUGBG, you really got screwed by Ghost Spell. That sucks. And I think with Maxi being banned, it probably increased the chance to see a card like Ghost Spell, which specifically does counter your deck. And then you'd have to hope that the opposing player is not well-versed in Cyburst to not know that Ghost Spell is to be held for the Super Factorial, where a lot of other players would have just used it early, because you did a lot of activations where Ghost Spell was asking to be activated. It's just unfortunate. Thank you for playing. Thank you for showing that cool combo that you were trying to do. Let's hop into another match. Let's get to it. Connector getting ashed. Is this a correct ash? Well, it's summoning a dolphin, which would discard the ash, so you pretty much have to ash. You got to. It eats the ash. We have the Noble Arm Museum, which will search for an equip card. The Durendal will search for a Fire Warrior, which could be the Flint Lady if we want to summon her onto the field. There she is. And just like that, we got I Sold combo. And I'm sure you are sick of this already by now, continually mentioning the in-game usage ratings that showcase that win rate on summoned, Infernoble Charles the Great is an 86.5% win rate. So let's see. He messed up the link arrows? Yes, he actually did. You're right. So let me tell you what we should have done. We should have, while we had Promethean Princess, we should have summoned to behind it because the link arrow is pointing down, even though you can't really see it because, okay, there. You summon behind it. So let's say here or here. Then you make the Ferocious Flame Swordsman. Then the Swordsman's going to point to an open monster zone to summon your second Emperor Charles the Great. So we have no other link arrows, thus we couldn't do it. So there you go. And also normally the Emperor Charles or the Charles the Great will pop the Promethean Princess. So normally Flame Swordsman's not even summoned. It's only if you have enough extensions to even summon it. And if you do summon it, it doesn't really add too much to the field besides boosting up the field. So it could be kind of okay, but let's get past all that and let's talk about what we accomplished here. We have a spell and trap card negate, a spell negates, pop any card on the field non-targeting, negate a monster. So we still have, and a Promethean Princess. So instead of 6 disruptions, we have 5. So a costly mistake and we're still gonna win anyway. Let's go. Not counting the Ghost Mourner. Finger the Promethean Princess. We are going to negate. Now down to 4 disruption. Maxi is banned just for this tournament. We're going back to normal next week. Oh, wait, this search is on activation, so it actually does negate. Okay, sure. That actually does something. Sure. Yeah, that's good. Boom. Promethean Princess, get popping. Seeker gets searching. We have 3 more disruptions. 3 more disruptions. Sorry for moaning for no reason. I just do that sometimes. And we have Phoenix. We have Charles. Wait, that's just 2 more disruption, right? Just 2 more? 2 more, 2 more. Get ready for the monster negate. Ghost Mourner, out of nowhere, the extra non-public disruption. More of a groan. I do that sometimes. So get ready. We have the roll-in non-target pop plus the monster negates. We got this. We got this. Linkuribo's here. Off the field it goes for Diablo Star. Burn for 800. We're going to be doing the non-target pop of the Charles right now. Non-target, wipe out the Fool, and we still have the Gear-freed monster negate. So 5 disruptions was more than enough to win the duel. Despite messing up the link arrows, everything worked out well. Good job. Let's hop into another game. Kashtira Birth is here, but only with the Kashtira will it trigger to banish 3 cards to the opponent's graveyard. I've been talking about in a graveyard-heavy meta that Birth itself is good disruption, of course paired up with the Unicorn. After a spell, effect, or activation, it then goes for 3 cards in the grave, banished face down. Now, all we have for disruption is our Effect Veiler. Is that enough against the best turn 1 deck in Master Duel right now? Grabbing a Noble Arms Museum. Museum gets searching for the Durendal. We have Turpin equipped with Durendal, which will search our deck for a Fire Warrior. Grabbing our Renaud. Renaud could special summon, come forth, and re-add the Durendal in the graveyard back to our hand. Now we're going to use the Owl Mace. Owl Mace equipped on a Turpin will be activating to equip a Joy Use. Joy Use being sent to the grave will then trigger to summon a monster from the hand. We are also with the Isold triggering to add a monster from the deck. Now you want to wait with the Effect Veiler. Don't use it yet. Wait for the second activation to then get Veilering. The Ricardetto now locks us out of being able to summon Promethean Princess. We're summoning warriors only. By sending 3 to summon a level 3 or lower, oh my gosh, we did not Veil. And now we're forced to Veil early because the Dolphin's about to rip the Veiler out of our hand. Negate the Turpin, mate. Burn for 500, further link this up into Angelica. Angelica, add the Museum, target the Angelica with a card effect to then chain to that card effect to then send from the deck and summon from the extra deck. If you had a Linkuribo in the graveyard and they activate a card effect to target the Angelica and you are confident that they want to chain the Angelica to it, that's when you would just use Linkuribo, chain to the card targeting Angelica to mess her up. Screw up the Angelica. Rolling level 5 tuner plus sending the Immortal Gear-freed Phoenix. We're going to equip the Turpin, use the Museum to summon it as a level 4 non-tuner to then make the level 9 Synchro Emperor Charles. Equip the Rollin onto the Charles, trigger the Charles to non-target pop a card in the field. Goodbye to the Birth. As we now make Emperor Charles the Great, putting us at 86.5% win rate here. To battle we go, reduced to 0 on the Isold attack, 4k to the face. We don't have Promethean Princess. We do have the effect of the Angelica here. So we have negate a spell, and trap. We have quick play, non-target pop, no Promethean, so we just have 3 disruption. 3 for 3. 3 cards. Angelica negate. We still have our spell and trap card negate plus non-target pop. Poplar gets searching for the original Sinful. I don't know if this is good because normally it would be good because they need a card in the field to use the original Sinful on, but this will equip itself back in the back row or equip another card anyway. So just waiting to negate the original Sinful, I think, was just the play. So we are going to get popping. It's non-target pop, by the way, so we're gonna pop your Link Karibo. That is our non-target pop disruption. Goodbye, Karibo. Poplar trigger, equip into the back row, but then negate the original Sinful anyway. Final negate. Negate. Snakeeyes from the tournament. You fool. That's it. Infernoble defeating Snakeeyes 2-0 victory. Damn. Very well done. Emperor Charles truly is... Wait, we have a random draw. What could we draw into? What? 1 for 1 into Ash. We have Impermanence to negate. And we Link Karibo'd for no real good reason. Had we held the Link Karibo, we could have dodged the Impermanence. Oh my gosh. Did we already add Poplar effects? If added, special. So, wow. I think Snakeeyes is just a disgusting deck, huh? So even though it got negated, wow, they're still going. They are still going. So actually, Snakeeyes will probably win this, stealing the Immortal Phoenix Gearfried. Oh, we're using it. So if we wanted to use it against the opponent, we would use the start of the damage step, suck up a card the opponent controls, equip a monster, and then it would turn into a monster negate. So was it worth sending it to the grave? Maybe we should have kept it. It actually would have turned into disruption. Further linking this up in a Promethean Princess. Promethean, reborn, a fire from the grave. Jesus. How? We had 4 disruption. We had triple plus the imperm. 4 disruption, and they're still playing. Why? Zealantis. Non-target banish the entire field. Reborn it all back to either be face down, face up, defense, attack, however you want the monster. Just summon it back. Ice Sold is here. It only triggers on Link Summon. Summon. Is this the 13.5% where Charles is summoned and we still lose? Maybe. We have nothing co-linked. No co-link, no pop of the Zealantis. Ambler Whale being triggered here to pop another card in the field. Angelica is gonna get popped. Okay. Does this say accept the damage step? We're going to Gamma, negate, and destroy the Flame Burst, which will still trigger the Flame Burst to summon 2 level 1 fires from the grave, which will then search for a follow-up, maybe add even more monsters onto the field. Oak summon, Poplar summon. Summoning an attack position? Is that correct? They're tiny. You're at 4,000 life. Are you gonna make it to another turn with all these monsters in attack position? Now we're putting Ash into defense. But it's too late. We have 2 tiny monsters in attack. Okay. Hopefully we don't lose from that. We have nothing co-linked with the Zealantis. Now, Museum, if it can't search for a Noble Arms, it can't use the other effect to summon from the back row. That's a problem if we're out of cards to search. Infernoble Magus is going to... We do have another card to search, so we can, in fact, summon from the back row. Turpin is summonable if we have an equipped card, triggering the Promethean Princess to get poppin'. Getting rid of one of our monsters that were in attack position. We now have co-linked with the Zealantis, so we can't enter the battle phase. Joy Use is going to be recycling the Immortal Gearfried in the graveyard back to our hand, which can negate a monster effect. Banishing the Angelic Ring, and it's ready to negate right here, right now. 4,500, negate the Zealantis, negate. And at the start of the damage step, equip a monster. It is a non-target equip, no target. Magus will activate to return up to 3 cards back in the deck, to then draw 1. Come to me, get drawing. Start the damage step, sucking up that Promethean lethal damage over the attack position. Ash, we left into attack by mistake. Damn. Shifter right away. It's going to be affecting both turns here. Now, what's the benefit of shiftering on your own turn besides having to use it before your own cards go to the graveyard? They can't bail her. They can still ash, and ashing the Martha is a huge play. So if you don't have ash for the Martha, you're done. And if no Maxi means less people are playing ash, then Exosister does become better. Sophia is going to be randomly drawing into the Vadis. We got Macallis searching our deck, but we already have Returnia. We already have Vadis. Now, what you should know with Vadis and Returnia, that is going to be Returnia and the Magnifica, that is. That's banish 4 cards. 4-card disruption. Can we play through 4? Can't droplet. Can't get cards in the grave. Can't even activate the original Sinful. It is illegal because the cost is sent to the grave. Just scoop it up. We didn't scoop to the field. We scooped Shifter. Shifter made us scoop. And I was talking about decks that could main deck Dimensional Fissure. Okay, you could play Dimensional Fissure in this deck also. Let's say you wanted your Exosisters to go to the grave. If they're an Exceed material and they're sent to the graveyard while there's a D-Shifter on the field, I should say a Dimensional Fissure, it still goes to the grave because it's not being sent, it is an Exceed material being sent to the grave. Snakeeyes, Ash, the Ash. Generally, a lot of people don't like doing this because it still has the other effect of sending itself plus another card, but it still needs another card to send and it has to be face up. So in some circumstances, that Ash is a really good Ash. But if they had a Diablo Star follow-up, then I think they would have been pretty much screwed. But then you could argue that maybe they're screwed anyway. If you have one Ash versus an Ash and a Diablo Star, what do you even really do? Exosister pack searching for the Martha. Speaking of Ash, you want to Ash this Martha like it's a branded fusion, but we would have a cross-out designate ready for that negate as we then Exceed into a Macallis. Should we have Econ taken the monster? Well, they have not used up the normal summon, so we take control of one. They then normal summon another. We could see the hand, but they can't, so you wouldn't really know. Now, the Ice Dragon Prison is maybe going to come into play here. If we detach a material, it's a spellcaster, and the Exceed is a warrior. So we can't take a spellcaster to banish a warrior. That also does not really work out. This is just not a good spot. Forbidden Droplet. Send the Bricked Flame Burst to the graveyard to negate. No search for you. Also, we lose out on the effect to banish a card in the field. Con to defense, not into taking control of it. Very nice. Keep the Ash on the field here. Now, this is weird. We summon it, and then we send it to the graveyard to then use the effect of Ash. Is that what we're doing? Take Elise. Why didn't we chain Vadis? I'm going to manipulate a card in your graveyard. If you summon 2 Exosister, they both trigger off of you manipulating a card out of the graveyard, right? Ash, the Ash. Negate. That's the scoop, mate. 2-0 victory. Is Exosister versus Snakeeyes better than Kashtira against Snakeeyes? I don't know. I'm thinking an earlier Rise Heart's a bit better, but it is an option. Kashtira or Exosister to counter Snakeeyes. Consider those decks. Thank you for watching the top 16 of the Maxx band tournament. Let me know in the comments if you like this tournament idea where we don't change the ban list whatsoever besides banning Maxx. This is something that we can continually do maybe every 3 to 4 months. You tell me. And of course, it does not affect the tier list on the website. Thank you for watching. Let's go.